Welcome to this long mullet women's cutting tutorial done by global educator Stephen Bizazzi. Now in this tutorial, Stephen's going to be working in a salon-friendly way by creating sections to map the head and haircut out, which will allow him to create a disconnected, longer length mullet around the nape area, working with a shorter fringe and some side areas to create softness and framing of the face through the front area. What's going to give Stephen the maximum control in this technique is keeping his body position upright and making sure he's standing in the same place to cut every single section, working from the opposite side of the head. This will allow him to create the tension, the elevation, and work on the same cutting line each and every time, just by bringing his comb round, working from the root, combing all the way up using maximum elevation and tension, and then cutting through into the original guide. Once the last section has been done on that first zone, it's important to analyze the shape and movement that we can see externally. Let's now move on to side number 2, where we can release the front profile area where we're going to be starting and taking a small area from the first side. This is so we can check the balance and make sure we get the exact same length as we did on the first side straight away. So Stephen's going to be using this technique to find the balance and the length to make sure that he gets the starting point correct from the first instance. This is a great technique to use if you're unsure on how to get the perfect balance from the first initial section that you're cutting on side number 2 to side number 1. He's now going to move on to the final subsection, which is at the back of the head, which should tie in very nicely to the center profile that he's already worked to from side number 1. So he now has a guide from not only the center from the other side, but also the continuation of the shape that he's cutting from the section behind the ear. So everything should link up perfectly from the center out towards the opposite corner of the cutting line. This will allow him to see if he has something completely balanced and symmetrical from side 1 into side number 2. Once Stephen has finished the last subsection on side number 2, he's now going to analyze the movement of the hair, have a look at the shape and see how everything is sitting. If he's happy with what he's done, he's now going to move on to the next zone, which is going to be the coronal area where the crown sits, where he's going to tie in a beautiful rounded shape, working through that zone, which will tie in everything from the sides and the back in towards the fringe panel. Once he's worked with the profile guide coming through, he's then going to work section number 2 to the side with a vertical parting. He's going to be working section 1 into 2, 2 into 3, and 3 into 4, meaning he's working off the base, working vertical sections, which will in turn create a soft rounded shape horizontally and vertically through the crown area. Stephen's worked with a vertical profile guide, 1 finger's depth. He's elevating everything completely upright to a square cutting line, meaning again it's shorter internally at the back and is becoming longer in the fringe as it goes forward into the frontal zone. This will create a very soft layer working forward into the fringe, which will create a lot of softness and movement, which he can manipulate with some texturizing at the end to really finish the shaping. To enhance the shaping around the face, Stephen's going to be working section 2 into 1, 3 into 1, and 4 into 1, meaning the best way to work with a razor on these types of haircuts when you want to really shape the front area is to work very freeform, meaning he's not picking the hair up through the comb, but more so working through the fingers, picking the hair up quite naturally, and just working with the razor coming down the hair shaft, creating shorter lengths that will pop out and start to really hug the chin area and everything below. Now, because we want a minimalistic feel to this haircut, and this type of style is a very relaxed, loose, easy, stylable look for clients, we're just going to work with the diffuser to give it a natural dry and feel. We don't want to have to put too much energy and time in towards the dry-in, working with a round brush or any type of brush, to be honest with you. We just want to put the right type of product in and let the styling do its own thing with the shape and the texture that we've created today on the hairstyle. We can play around with the styling and just work with different looks on this hairstyle. We can clearly see there is a distinct disconnected mullet area at the back, but nothing that's too aggressive in terms of the length through the sides, blends in very nicely and gradually from the fringe area. You can see that we can play around with the styling on the fringe as well to create a more of a versatile salon friendly look for this woman's long length mullet haircut. Thanks for watching this cutting tutorial. by Stephen Bazazzi. We hope to see you on the next one.